Fellow survivors, I often get asked about wiring electricity in 7 Days to Die, and Alpha 20 is no different. And I wanted to do a quick video on some of the important points relating to how to do it effectively, and yes, it's not entirely intuitive, as well as show you how to wire it up a maximum 15 blocks directly without using any relays. Yes, you heard me, electricity wiring can be done up to 15 blocks from item to item. Often people think it's 12, maybe 12, some cases maybe 14, and especially if you're new to the game or to electricity in general, there are some things to consider as you wire things up. Enjoy my guides? Well, wire up that like button and switch on the notification bell. The generator is running, make sure you're fueled up to be notified of all my new videos. Let's start here with the basics of how to wire things up. I have a 2 electric fence post here. This is the baseline. We then have 15 blocks to this one is 16 blocks, and thanks all of you for coming out here to showing your support for all the people trying to learn here in school. And the easy way is you go up to it, right click, you see you get the wire, make sure it's not red. If it's like red like that, you cannot connect anything. Let's say I try to connect to that one by another right click, nothing happens. You have to make sure that the wire is still black, and then you right click. There you go, simple. If you then left click, nothing happens on this because it actually only clears the inbound. But if I left click on this, because it's clearing the inbound, it will vanish. So now there's no more wire. The important thing is that, one, you have line of sight. If you don't have line of sight, let me block things up here. Of course, I tried to wire up and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work. So of course you have to have a line of sight. That's the first thing that is really important. A second thing that is important is that it's not more than 15. This is 16. I tried to wire up and I tried to right click, and nothing happens because it's more than 15. Very important. The third thing that is a little bit peculiar is that, let me right click here, is that you cannot be too far away from the originating block because then it turns red. Red doesn't mean that the wire is too long. That's not what it means. And that's what's really weird, because if I go over, let's see here, I'm probably at about 10. But actually it can connect over there, but it's still red. It's really weird, and it throws off a lot of people. And this is why a lot of people think that 10 is the maximum. Because if I stand here, as long as the wire is black, I can still connect it, even if it was red when I was at 10, indicating that it's actually too long. And that's just really, really weird. So what you normally just do is that if you hit a red wire, do that again. If you hit it red, maybe you're at an angle or something, just back up a little bit until it turns black again. Hopefully you can get a good angle, and then you wire it up. And if you understand this, you've actually mastered the basics, because this is how you wire it up 15 blocks. You have to make sure that you are in between somewhere, having a black wire, having line of sight, and then you can connect it. And do the same thing with a tripwire here. Again, it's the same distance here. As long as the wire is black, I can. If it's red, I can't. I have to back up a little bit, and then I can connect. 16, unfortunately, it doesn't work. Doesn't matter if the line is black or not, it will not connect. I can't even connect to this one or this one because the angle makes it to be 15 and something, and that doesn't work. If you are having a problem, and that's something that does happen, the important thing is that you're trying to get an angle where you actually can see. And now I'm unfortunately black, so it doesn't work. But if I go off maybe on this side, and there I am black, and that actually allows me to connect it. If you're just very precise with how you're connecting things up like that, that actually allowed me to do it, even though it looked like it wouldn't. So let me clear it again, and I'll show once more. Just try to get off to the side until you get a line of sight, or above as well, depending on which item it is. As long as it's, I think that, yeah, as long as you have a black wire, it will then connect. And that's something that often throws people off, because they think that if the wire is red, unfortunately, it's not going to work. And that's not the case. It's really weird mechanic that I do hope that they would change, because they should just make it so that you can stand 15 blocks away, and it would make people a lot less confused about it. If you do need a longer distance, you can do it. Let's say I want to do this at 16. Put a wire relay, for instance. Connect from here to here and here to here. work just fine. Well, yes and no. The problem here is that if you're using that with electric fences, it's not going to work because you're not sending power between your electric fences. But you could do something like this. Put another electric fence in between, put this one here, and have this one continue over to that. That way, you would have, if anyone passes through here, they would be electrified, and same here if anyone gets electrified. Let's say you have two electric fences way over here and you want to connect them from the generator. Simple, just make sure you wire relay to the first electric fence post, and that one connects to the second one. Works really well. The only time relay does not work is if you're trying to do signal pass-through, and then you can't actually do that. In these cases, you actually have to use, peculiar enough, trigger plates. I think tripwires would work as well, because if you're using trigger plates or tripwires, it maintains it as an OR gate. If you're using a relay, it becomes an AND gate, and then signal pass-through does not work. And that's something that is really useful if you're doing, let's say, a two-way automatic door that opens as you approach from both sides. If you're interested in doing something like that, I'm going to leave a link in the description to a video that I put out of how to actually wire that up. It's really simple. You can do trigger plates, you can use motion sensors, which is even more useful. For a lot of basic things, this should be sufficient. Just knowing that line of sight has to be a black wire and max 15 blocks. Thank you for watching. If you want to support my content, do consider becoming a YouTube member or Patreon supporter. Links are in the description. See you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the Vedui community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.